Right, so we're going to be covering, still in circles, but we're going to be covering arc length. So here we have the length of AB is what they want us to find. So the arc length is the distance along an arc measured in linear units. So on these problems, they want us to round to the nearest tenth. So if we're looking for the arc from A to B, so here is the shortest distance from A to B. Okay, so we're looking for the length of this. So if I were to take a ruler and I would be able to curve the ruler and measure that, that's what we're looking for, okay? So here, the way that we're going to find this is by making a proportion. So this arc length is equivalent to this angle right here. So first I have to find this angle. So I can see that this makes a half a circle or a straight angle. So I'm going to do an 80 minus a 76, and this gives me 104. So my angle here for AB is going to be 104. So we're going to make a proportion. So the angle is 104. One full circle is 360. Okay, is equal to. Now we're going to make a proportion of. Now we're looking for the arc length, which is x. We don't know what it is. And then the full circle, so all the way around the whole circle, that's called circumference. So circumference is equal to 2 pi r. Okay, or it's c equals pi d. Okay, in this case, they give us the diameter. It's 24. So when I plug it in, I get 24 pi. Okay, so the full circle is 24 pi. So that's what I'm going to put here. They do want us to round to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply. I'm going to do 104 times 24. And that gives me 2,496 pi. Equals 360x. So then to solve for x, I need to get rid of this 360. So I'm going to divide both sides by 360. And since they want this rounded to the nearest tenth, when I put this in my calculator, I'm going to do the 2,496. I'm going to multiply it times a pi, and then I'm going to divide that number by 360. And so that gives me 21.78. So if I'm rounding to the nearest tenth, I get 21.8. And then our units here are feet. And that's it. Okay, so let's go ahead and try another one. So on here, they want the length of CDE. So the length of CDE is C to D to E. It's all of this piece right here, okay? So then here we're gonna make a proportion. Now we don't know what the angle is, so we're gonna have to find it. Now it's gonna be all this angle right here. So if I know that little piece is 40, I'm gonna go ahead and do 360 minus 40, because one full circle is 360 degrees. I subtract the 40, and that gives me 320. Okay, so we're just looking for a section of the circle. We're looking for 320 degrees of it out of the 360. So we set up our proportion. On the other side, we're going to find, or we're looking for the arc length, which is x over the total circumference. So for here, my circumference is 2 pi r. In this case, we have the radius. So my circumference is equal to 2 times pi times 13, which in that case gives me 26 pi. So here I'm going to put 26 pi. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply 320 times 26, and then that gives me 8,320 pi. I still haven't multiplied the pi yet, and then I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply the 360 times the x. And then to solve for x, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the 360 by dividing both sides by 360. So that cancels, and then in my calculator, I'm going to take the 8,320. I'm going to multiply it times a pi, and then I'm going to divide it by 360, and that gives me 72.6. My units here are centimeters equals x. Okay. So then the next one, here it says find each arc length, give your answer in terms of pi. So this time we're going to leave it in terms of pi. We're not going to multiply it times a pi. So here I get the length of JK. So here is JK, which is this arc right here. They do give us that central angle, which is 80. So I'm going to go ahead and take 80 out of 360 equals x over, and then I'm going to find the circumference. So the circumference is equal to, they give us the radius here, so we're going to use 2 pi r, or 2 pi times 9. Okay, well 2 times 9 gives me 18 pi, so that's going to be my circumference. I cross multiply, so my calculator, I'm going to do 18 times 8, and that gives me 144 pi. Then I multiply the 360 times the x, and then to solve for x, we divide both sides by 360. So because they want us to leave this in terms of pi, I'm going to put 144 divided by 360 and see what that gives me as a, it's going to give me a reduced fraction. And that gives me 2/5. So here I'm going to put 2/5 pi equals x. And then here my units are yards, so it should be here yards. And that's it. All right, the next one. So here they're asking us for the length of, whoops, what did I do? Draw. The length of A to C first before I go to B. So this whole thing here, okay? So then the angle, now this is half a circle, so that's going to be 180 plus this 60 is going to be 180 plus 60, I believe it gives us 240. So 240 degrees out of a total circle is 360 equals, we're just looking for the arc length x, which we don't know, that's what we're looking for, over the total circumference. So this time they give us the diameter, so we're going to use pi d. So it's going to be pi times 27, which we will really write the 27 in the front, the coefficient 27 pi. Okay, we're leaving this in terms of pi, so I'm going to multiply the 240 times the 7. That gives me 1680 pi equals 360x. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 360. So my 1680, I divide by 360, and that gives me 4.66667. I'm going to go ahead and change that to a fraction, and it's going to be 14 over 3 pi. My units are meters, and that's what's equal to x. All right, the next one says a circle has an arc whose length is 6 pi centimeters. The arc has a central angle of 60 degrees. What is the radius of the circle? Okay, so I'm going to set up my proportion just the way we've been doing. Okay, so usually we put the degrees on top, so it's 60 degrees out of a total of 360 equals, we put the arc length. So usually we don't have the arc length, but here they tell us the arc length is 6 pi, so here's 6 pi. And then we put it over the total circumference of the circle, which is 2 pi r. Now we don't know what the radius is, that's what we're looking for, that's what they're asking us, what is the radius of the circle? So now I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply. So 2 times 60 gives me 120 pi r equals, I'm going to go ahead and multiply the 360 times a 6. And that gives me 2,160 times pi. And then to solve for our radius, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this 120 pi that's here with the r. So what I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So here the 120s cancel, the pi cancels, and all we're left with is r. Here, so we get 2,160, we divide it by 120, and that gives me 18. When I divide the pi's, they cancel each other out, so that means our radius r is equal to 18. All right, the next one says find the